Hi, baby boomer fans. We are Jackie and Janine, the Pfeiffer sisters, and love to talk about the 1950s, inviting you to reminisce with us as we explore experiences of that decade. Grab your favorite malt or Green River. Make sure you are wide awake and get ready to be inspired about the 1950s. Welcome to the 1950s Fun Chat. Hello, friends. And I'm going to say hello, neighbors, because so many of you seem like next door neighbors with all the wonderful chats that we've shared with you. Thank you very much for being a great, great audience. And please encourage others to watch our channel also. They'll learn a lot about history from the 1950s. Mm-hmm. Today is another fun one, Jackie, a real fun one. So take it away.
It is. Folks, the star of our show is the little rubber ducky. Neil and Krystal King are the creative duo behind the Rubber Duck Museum, and they own Cora's Corner, a gift shop in Point Roberts, Washington. Now, get out your maps, and you'll notice that this Port Roberts is almost in Canada, way, way, way in the western part of the state of Washington. So they have been married since 2019. Neil and Krystal's story spans decades and states and shares passions, starting from their first meeting in 2007 when attending the University of Central Florida. Neil studied marketing and film, and Krystal majored in developmental and neuropsychology fields that now combine perfectly in their work as curators and creators. Now in 2022, the couple moved to the unique border town of Port Roberts, Washington, kitty corner across the United States. They moved during the pandemic in pursuit of safe and quiet life. After taking over the town's only gift shop, they began crafting their vision to attract visitors and celebrate the quirky, unexpected joys of life. So the Rubber Duck Museum, which opened its doors on July 4th of 2024, started with the idea of showcasing rare and unique rubber ducks. However, as they delved into research, Neil and Krystal uncovered a rich and fascinating history that expanded their vision far beyond the original concept. The museum now explores the rubber duck's journey from its early 20th century beginnings to its enduring cultural legacy, delighting visitors of all ages. Now, Neil is a former filmmaker and restaurant manager, and he's now working as an AI implementation specialist at HubSpot. Krystal serves as the curator of the Rubber Duck Museum, overseeing its exhibits and artistic direction. So welcome to you both to the 1950s Fun Chat.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. So the rubber toys first appeared evidently in the late 1800s when manufacturers made use of Charles Goodyear's process for rendering rubber into a malleable material. So please touch on that early history of the rubber duck and then move to the modern rubber duck of the 40s and 50s and then beyond.
Okay. So, taking off right from where you were, it was in the late 1800s when Charles Goodyear invented vulcanized rubber used for tires that they began using the same material, the same kind of factories that were making it were also began delving into children's and dog toys. And so the first rubber ducks were very, very hard. They cracked easily. They're all hand painted at this point. They were mostly used as chew toys. They didn't float. They were very different. And we pretty much stay like that up until about the 30s when we start seeing some more character deals. So we actually have, this is kind of considered one of the first mass-produced rubber ducks. And this is more what they were back then. It's very, very hard. He's from the 1930s. And then we have one of the molds that they used to make these. This is kind of interesting.
Yeah, this is really cool. So Disney and Sieberling paired up and started making these rubber toys, with Donald Duck being the star of the show. We actually stumbled across this and just found the mold. There's only four different variations of this mold, but we got lucky to find the mold that actually goes with the one that we were able to find.
Cool. That is neat.
Yeah, and the cool thing with this too is you can kind of see, if you look at it, it's sealed shut. They filled in the holes on the bottom. So what they would do is they would put the rubber in the bottom of the holes, and then they would open it up, and you'd have the actual toy itself. But you can see it's all sealed. Disney is very proprietary about their stuff. And this is a proof that they're like, nope, you can't make our stuff anymore. This is actually like one of my favorite things we have in the museum.
So then, okay. So the duck has an orange beak. He has a blue cap and scarf. Is that painted then? Later after it comes
they're painted, and one thing that's neat is you can see on the molds they would have the design that was going to be done. Most of the paint, it's 100 years old, it's very worn, but you can see some of the white here from his shirt and some of the red over back here from the orange.
Bigger,
so kind of tough to see, but he's got a little of his paint left, and then people would follow the design and hand paint them. And that continues up even through a lot of the 40s and 50s. A lot of them are still hand painted.
And what that was through Disney then?
This one was a partnership between Disney and Cyberling. Cyberling was also making tires. So they partnered up, and we see a few other examples of that. Donald Duck is the main one, but that's when we start seeing more characters and more. They're a lot more intentional, if that makes sense. The designs they're coming up with and that they're putting out. So then we get to the 40s and the early. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. May I go back? Do you know what a rubber duck would have cost back in that first?
Oh, that's such a fun question. I'm going to look into that. I don't know actually.
We have a few ads from that time period. Do they have prices on them?
The ads we have are something we're going to get to later. Okay. They are not for rubber ducks.
Right.
They're utilized rubber ducks.
Got you.
Okay. All right. Then
that is a fun question. I do know that when I was looking at some things from the 50s, like specifically like Howdy Doody toys and stuff, I saw a lot of the small things were like 39 cents for character toys and all, which I was like, wow, sounds fantastic.
Yes.
But I don't know comparably in the 30s at that point.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, that is a fun question though. I like that. I want to find that out.
Yes.
So then we do get to the war in the 40s. Rubber is now being consolidated and distributed for war efforts. So they're not using it so much for toys. And at that point, it wasn't really toy companies yet making them anyway. It was mostly tire companies and companies that were using vulcanized rubber anyway. So it was pretty easy to just redirect. So there's a bit of a pause there in the early 40s with the shortage of rubber. Then the late 40s happens. We have some of the post-war prosperity. People have a little more spending money. We have the baby boom, which is really exciting. And so we start to see a lot of these come back, and not just from those types of factories anymore, but now we're seeing toy companies really start to grow and take these on a little more. They start advertising a little more specifically towards children, which is cool. We have more toy catalogs now that are being sent out that are more directed. That's when we start seeing ads that are more specifically towards the rubber ducks themselves. Don't have any of the ads on me, and I'm sure we do have a couple of those catalogs, but I do not remember the prices.
There were ads on TV as well, because homes were getting televisions in the 50s.
Yeah. Well, I'm still stuck in the 40s. So 1949 is when we have the first patent for what sets the stage for modern rubber ducks. Peter Gaining files a patent on April 26th for the first floating and squeaking rubber ducks. And he's got the mechanism and everything, and he shows how the air is going to go in the mouth and out the squeaker and how it'll work. And so that gets us to the 50s, which I kind of look at as the Wild West of rubber ducks. It's a really fun time, because now we do see a lot more. And like you said, everybody's getting TVs. We're seeing a lot of specific marketing, not just in marketing the toys to kids, but also marketing at this point plays a really big role in making them a cultural icon. We, through the 30s and 40s, lots of toys were being made in rubber, right? It wasn't just ducks. You saw dolls, you had all kinds of animals. Dogs was a big one. But But in the 50s, we start seeing marketing not towards children that uses children's icons. For instance, every ad with a bathtub or in a bathroom has a rubber duck somewhere. It's bright. We start seeing more of the yellow used in this era because it just looks so nice, like on, on different things, on print.
TV.
Yeah, and on the TV,
Yes. Did every rubber duck float?
They're all very different at this point. No, not all of them do. Most of them do squeak at this point, but not all of them are intended for bath toys. We start to see the shift in bath toys in this time because, like we said, we start to see the marketing. We also the late the 50s, because we start to have, the baby boomers they're starting to grow up. There's a big push towards teaching hygiene for children. And so rubber ducks are seen as this universal way to get children to enjoy the bath. Everybody's got to have a rubber duck in the bath because it makes bath time fun. That's the message going out right now. And so they kind of got to take over the squeaky rubber toy thing as, the rubber ducks are the thing now because they're the most versatile. They're getting the most traction.
Has the squeak stayed the same?
No. We have a couple different ones with different squeaks. And actually, a lot of the Peter Gaining, even though he gets the credit for it, from our experience so far with the ducks we've collected, there's a different type that tends to maintain the squeaker better and actually have one. This is a guy from the 50s.
Okay, let me give you the full screen.
Spots.
There
you go.
Yes.
He's got some spots. He's a cute guy. We start to get some of the design we'll see later. But their squeakers, instead of being on the bottom, came from here. And he still works wonderfully. He's 75 years old and he works fine. So we do have different patents coming out in the 50s. And everybody's, like I said, it's the Wild West of ducks. I want to get into showing you guys some of the different designs we have. Sure. But everybody's kind of just doing their own thing, and not all of them were for the bath. Like we have this guy from the toy company Rempel. He doesn't squeak anymore, but he did have the same metal squeaker. He was meant to stand up. He, in his heyday, would stand up. Ours is, he's struggling a little. Struggles. Again, he's 75. It's okay. He's more to stand and play and squeak.
How did you acquire all these?
Toy auctions.
Lots of
research. Really hunting. I for about 7 months of my life, all I did was rubber ducks and researching and collecting and finding, and I was dreaming in ducks. It was a lot of fun.
Dreaming in ducks.
From here now.
Yeah, a lot of the things we kept finding too were just like lots of toys. Like people would clear out their attics and just find all these old toys, and it'd be lots of toys. And they didn't actually know what they had.
I don't think a lot of them did. Some of them, they would still be wrapped in newspaper from the 50s. Oh yeah, that was like cool. It was very cool. Actually, this guy is an example of that. No, just keep bringing out random. He's also from the 50s. This is a designer called Edward Mobley. He worked with a bunch of different manufacturers, and he's known for these flowery, feathery designs. He was an artist. Yeah, so this is a good example of one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. So how did the material change? I remember having a little rubber dog, and that little rubber dog was stored a long, long time, and it pretty much disintegrated.
Yeah.
So what changed in the material with that's been combined with the rubber?
They started using more vinyl in the 50s. It was lighter, it was more durable, and it was easier to mass manufacture. So we started seeing, even though we still call them rubber ducks, and they just kind of took that name, a lot of them stopped being rubber even back then in the 50s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, mine must have stopped because it just it had a red bow. It was a black
rubber ones tend to have a lot of, we can see some of that on this old guy. You can see where there's cracking and chipping, and it does. If you were to bother this too much, you can see it.
Yes, right. I see that.
So that's the vulcanized rubber.
Okay. Now that's it. It's interesting because that one, the head turns. The head turn?
It does. It turns.
Okay, but it doesn't on all of them.
No, this isn't a four.
I believe the Sieberling rubber duck did. The Sieberlings, this run did.
when we got him, his head wasn't even on, right?
Yeah,
we
no.
could see there was
there's a ball and socket.
Ball and socket
it's a ball
joint,
and socket design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you are there ever any other toys that you want to dream? Like you said you were dreaming ducks.
I think I'm good on the ducks, honestly. My dad collects vintage rubber toys as well. So, we tend to be on the lookout anyway. Like he loves Snoopy, and we just found a 1968 Snoopy for him for Christmas with a
cool fun
jacket and hat and everything. It's adorable. He likes to do a lot of vintage cars, trains, things like that. I think we're good with the ducks, though. It's already a lot. We filled 2 cases with really interesting ones immediately, and I have another full case ready to go up, and we had to stop at a certain point because we were like, we have way more ducks than space now. So yeah, no, I don't think we'll ever get bored with ducks. It's one of those weird things. There's somehow always more to learn.
Yeah, and every country kind of did it their own way too. So when we find ducks from Russia and Czechoslovakia and Japan.
This guy's from Croatia. They took a different direction.
Ooh, hold on. I want to get the bigger screen on that one.
Yeah.
Every time something comes up, I'm like, I got a duck for that.
Yeah.
You can see everybody.
I like that one.
Yeah. He's I think out of all of ours, the one that feels the most like rubber, like, exactly what you would expect.
And so how old is that one? Do you know?
This is also from the 50s.
Okay, but from Croatia.
But from Croatia, yeah. Like I said, Wild West. Everybody's making their own.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I think was probably interesting for you as well when you unwrap these ducks from the newspaper. Look at all the history that's in that newspaper.
Yes, we kept them.
We kept them. We
thought that was so cool. I was like, I want to frame these and put them up in the museum on the side, just like here's what was going on at the time, like. We have them.
We have them.
That was very cool.
Framed,
yeah.
We started collecting ads from history as well, and like I said, a lot of the ads we're finding are more like an ad for a new bathtub design, and of course there's the ducky, and there's duckies in everything. So we've been trying to collect a lot of that part of the history as well.
Was the first song written about a rubber ducky was when that was Ernie? Sang it on Sesame Street
song, but it's the first that got that popular for sure, and it kind of breathed new life into rubber ducks. They had been a standard for a while, and they were very exciting for a bit, and then it was just kind of like everybody has a rubber duck, just like a little girl's gonna have a doll, just like and then in 1970 is when that song came out. And by 76, it was shooting up Billboard charts. It was wild. And all of a sudden, everybody had to have a rubber ducky again because it's your best little buddy. And fun fact, even though that song didn't come out till 1970, the duck they used was also made from the 50s. It was this little guy is the original. This isn't the original. The original is the Smithsonian.
It's the same design.
But this is the Alan J. Clarelite duck that, they came out in the 50s. And this is originally what Ernie used in his rubber ducky songs, their marketing. He's on all of like the old records, like what is it called? The cover art?
Yeah, the cover art.
The cover art. Yeah. This guy. And he, again, had a very different design from everybody. He's kind of looking around.
I looked up his song, and it's D-U-C-K-I-E. Is that the correct way, or is it D-U-C-K-Y? Or
does it have Street and Ernie on this one?
Yeah,
they have they got the authority,
So it's Ducky's I-E.
Yeah,
is it?
I would say so. Or I don't know.
But we spell Ducky Y when we do our Go Ducky campaign. We do a Y.
We do a Y in the Go Ducky campaign.
Oh dear!
And what is it? Well,
hotly contested in the community.
Yeah. What is the Go Ducky campaign?
You want to take it?
Yeah, so we have just launched a new campaign called Go Duckies. Essentially, we are going to be dropping these cards with little miniature resin rubber ducks all over the world, actually, we can say.
We have people in cities
everywhere
all over the world about to drop for us.
And the idea will be is they come on, they scan that QR code or go to the website, and they can actually put in the location of where they found the Go Ducky, and we start kind of building this community of people who are collecting Go Duckies. We're gonna then after that, it's gonna be a collect them all kind of game where you got to grab the blue one with the top hat and the sunglasses, and he's gonna have a name, and we're just gonna keep building and expanding on that. And people can collect it, and through an app are gonna be able to check off who they got and where they found them. And
so how are you going to let people know that you have this campaign?
So we're jumping on a trend that's already happening. A lot of people, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Jeep ducking or cruise ship ducking, but there's already a bit of a thing right now. It's been going on for several years now, where people that own Jeeps will leave rubber ducks for each other on their Jeeps.
That happened in our Walmart.
Yes, yeah. People leave ducks, and people also do on cruise ships. People will bring 20 ducks and say, with a little tag from this family or whatever, and just hide them all over the cruise ship. These little tiny resin ducks are being mass produced all over the place. Like he said, there's all kinds of different colors and adorable variations. And they have also been being picked up as just being hidden all over. So what we're doing is just kind of bringing that all together into one game. We have a ton of these cards, and we have people in New York City, Denver, Miami, Orlando, Salt Lake, LA, Dallas, all over the place. South Korea, that we are, Costa Rica, that we're going to be sending, stacks of these too, so that they can just hide them all over. We also have the cards available for download on our website. So if people have ducks or want to themselves, they can just download the cards and print them and go play themselves.
Okay, Becca, you blanked out. Go to your website and you can what now? Because
you can download these cards. We have these on a PDF. There's, I think, 12 per page, and you could download them, print them, cut them, and distribute them yourself.
So that tells you how to get the duckies. Because in 2 weeks, I'm going on a cruise, and I'd like to do that.
Well, cruise ducking is a whole thing as well, but we could send you some of these if you want to send these out for sure.
Okay. That sounds like fun.
Yeah. Be on the hunt, because a lot of people like to hide cruise ship ducks.
Yeah.
And then the ultimate goal is, by doing this, is what?
It's about creating a fun atmosphere and getting our name out there. We're getting bigger in the Pacific Northwest. Like, we've only been open with the Rubber Duck Museum for 6-7 months now. We've been featured in a ton of newspaper articles and a couple awesome websites like Roadside America and stuff like that.
A couple book authors reached out.
Yeah, there's a couple book authors where they'll be coming out with some like roadside attraction books over the course of this year. So it's just one of those things of like, it's our marketing campaign to be like, hey, look, we exist. Come check us out. And
it's just for fun. There's no monetization of this when we say campaign. It's for fun, really. Like, we're having a blast with rubber ducks, to be honest. And I joined all these online communities of people that are hiding them everywhere, and just seeing how much fun people have looking for them and finding them. And people will post, look, I found this randomly in my Walmart. And they keep going, they go all over, and people have these next to their computers or what, it's fun. It's a silly.
Well, does the duck races that are popular now, what do you know about those? How?
Quite a bit. Generally, what's considered the biggest is the Chicago. They usually do about, I think, 75,000 ducks.
Chicago River,
yeah, it's wild. They have to bring in dump trucks to pour them. The pictures are so cool, and they keep it contained. A lot of people think we're just, people are just dumping ducks in public waterways. They're not. There's usually rafts on the sides, and it's contained, and they make sure that they gather everyone. So it's safe. It's a good way to raise money. We've been talking this year about how we might try to, I don't know, get involved with those, maybe send out some duckies for prizes or something. I'd love to get involved and support those, because they're almost all fundraisers, which is great. They are. So I love that that's a thing. Like, what a fun way to do a fundraiser.
And we would
Rotary clubs around here do that. Rotary
awesome
does that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Just think how fun that would be for St. Jude's Children's Hospital. We get there are a lot of TV ads here for St. Jude's, and it's a cancer hospital for children. But how fun those it would be to give those to children.
Yeah.
And we would love to throw our own duck race as well. We have a little bit of challenge of where we are because of the waterways here, but because we don't have like any rivers or streams or anything, just go in the one direction.
We're a tiny peninsula, so we're surrounded by just open ocean everywhere.
Yeah, and we don't want to.
So yeah, we're not trying to ship the duckies out that way.
Yes. Who would have ever thought that something like a rubber duck has such a gorgeous history to it?
That's what we didn't get into this expecting to find that and make that our thing. We thought, we already had our little gift shop, and we thought, we know enough, I don't know, interesting and, names of people that people know, that we could get a bunch of celebrity signatures. And we thought, wouldn't it be funny if we could send out, because there's all these styles of ducks that make sense to people we know that, could sign them and send them back. And we thought that would just be kind of a little tiny fun thing, a big shelf somewhere with these interesting ducks. But then we started doing the research. We were like, ducks are actually really, really interesting. So it kind of evolved on its own.
Yeah.
This wasn't the intention, but I'm very happy with where it's landed.
Well, that's the fun thing too about what you're doing. You can tell that you're so passionate about this. That no doubt it's going to go far,
maybe.
Yeah, it's been a year really since like the thought of the Rubber Duck Museum, and it's just kind of.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was January.
Yeah, it was January of last year when we're just driving in the car, and she just goes, I have a good idea. I was like, yeah. She goes, we should do the Rubber Duck Museum. Yeah, and I was like, that's the best idea I've ever heard.
He immediately was like, yes, that's what we're doing.
That's the best idea I've ever heard. And then she just dove in and just kept on just like all the history and everything just came from her. And she just would be like, look what I found, look what I found, look what I found. And we started putting these pieces together and really was able to tell the rubber duck story, which was just like something that we never really saw, never heard. We did so much research on rubber ducks and toy museums and rubber duck museums, and just like there just wasn't one. And we're like, why not?
Yeah.
So, and now you need to get ducky costumes so you can be in a parade, a hot parade.
Those are we've looked into the rubber duck costume because we do have a July 4th parade here in Point Roberts, and I'm not gonna lie, they're really awkward and creepy.
Rubber duck costumes on people start to lose their charm a little quick.
Their joy and their loving.
Yeah, bearded, long-haired dude in a rubber duck costume, probably.
No, you'd have to be totally in the costume.
We do have a 3-year-old we could put a costume on, though. She could rock it.
Cute.
The 3-year-old. I don't know if we could, but she can pull it off.
Yes. Oh, the world's at your doorstep to be able to do what you want to do to explore and enhance that world of rubber ducks. How cool
like we kind of accidentally fell into the world's leading expert on rubber ducks history. So it's just like we just keep going and going and going, and who knows what's next for it.
We were contacted at some point by a teacher who works with 5th graders, and they were doing it was like the kind of their first research project, and it would take all year long. It was this one class that they do this project in, and part of it was they had to pick a subject and they needed to interview an expert in the field. And I guess this child was very set on, I'm doing my project on rubber ducks. And the teacher was kind of like, are there experts in the field of rubber ducks? And he found us. And
cool.
My favorite interview to date. This 10-year-old. Fantastic. Can't wait to see the completed project.
Well, tell us about your gift shop and how you associate the Rubber Duck Museum with it.
Yeah, so we live in Point Roberts. It's a very odd place. We're 800 residents full-time, mostly retired community, and during the summer we can go up to about 5,000 to 6,000 people here. Most of the people that come here, most of the houses here are owned by Canadians. So they'll come on down, they'll stay here for the weekend, or they'll just come on down for the weekend or for their long weekends. And, we have a gift shop that showcases Point Roberts stuff. You know, we got our Point Roberts sweater, we got t-shirts, stickers, magnets, all the stuff. We're also the penny candy store. So just like very classic candy store with a lot of classic candy, and people can make their own bags of candy, cheap stuff like anywhere from 10 cents to really $1 when it comes to candy. And you know, we had this back room area that we just kept. It was first like a catch-all room where it was just kind of anything random we could throw back there.
Well, first we made it an art gallery.
Well, then
it was a local art gallery first, and then we tossed around a bunch of other ideas. Our shop is divided into like 5 distinct rooms. So we had the souvenir, we had the candy shop area, we had kind of novelty, we made one a back room, and then we just had this one. We always knew we wanted to do something that would help bring some tourism back to the town, because we're an exclave, which means when the pandemic hit, we were fully cut off from the world. We are attached to Canada, not Washington State. So there was no getting in or out of our town. We're surrounded on all sides by either ocean or the Canadian border. So we knew we wanted to do something that was going to be fun. There's not so much for like kids to do. And we were seeing a lot of families and kids coming down. Obviously with the candy shop, we got to know all the American and Canadian kids that frequent by, and that was a lot of fun. And so we just needed something to do with that back room that would be more exciting. And we tossed around so many ideas. And like you said, one day we were driving and I just was like, we already had, I think 200 or 300 different kinds of rubber ducks for sale, and people really liked them. It was kind of fun to have this big, giant shelf of rubber ducks. And so I was like, what if we do a rubber duck museum? And you know, like we said, I thought that was just going to be some modern, different styles and maybe some with celebrity signatures. And then it took on a life of its own. Absolutely.
That whole back room is now just rubber
now
ducks.
It's all rubber ducks.
It's not in a glass case. It's for sale.
It's about 3,000 for sale.
3,000 is our last
and then
count.
about 40 artifacts that are on display for now. And we have another 15 to 20 artifacts ready to go when we put in a new case.
Yeah, and the ducks are all different kinds too. You know, like I always say there's a rubber duck for everybody. So, you know, if you are into The Godfather, we have a Marlon Brando duck, right? If you like pirates, we have all these variations of pirate ducks. We have a whole Wizard of Oz duck section. We got every type of animal you could think of.
Every
giraffe,
occupation
tiger,
you can think of.
Dragons. They're all into rubber ducks.
Can you find candy ducks?
Yes.
There are candy duck products. Yes.
Like wait, that's what you can eat or
cookies?
So we actually have both. So there is candy rubber duck kind of stuff. They're like the hard yellow candies, like banana runts.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. They look like they'd be like banana runts. We haven't brought those in yet just because they're mostly available bulk and we don't have a bulk candy system. We have a penny candy system.
But there are also rubber ducks that are branded with candy logos.
Yes. We have Tootsie Roll rubber ducks, we have Andes, we have Dots, we have lots of candy themed rubber ducks.
So how many companies in the United States just alone produce rubber duckies? Or is it just one or two?
I don't know if anyone is producing here. There are a couple that act as major distributors for the biggest brands. There's a wonderful shop. I think they're in New York, right? Ducks in a Window.
There's a few locations. One's in New York. There's one in Seattle.
There's one in Seattle.
Yeah, there's one in Seattle.
Why haven't we been there? That's 3 hours away.
They're never open.
I only know about past ducks. I don't know about.
We've only been to Seattle once since we've done the Rubber Duck Museum. They were not open.
They weren't open.
Well, I was just wondering where this little guy came from. It's kind of imprinted on the back, but it's real hard to see.
He's got text on the front, right? So he's a promo duck.
He is. It says it's the McCure Hotel. And
there are companies that do promotional ducks. So you could choose the style and what you want it to say and then have them made.
Okay. And
they're like manufactured in China and ordered and designed and everything by a company here.
Yeah. Okay. You flew away.
Do you each have a favorite rubber duck?
Mine's the white whale, I think.
Yeah, the one you can't find.
There was this one duck one time, and I should have brought him over. We have a similar one from the same company. I'll just show one really quick. There are these rubber face ducks. We have this example because he's from the 50s, so we brought him up for you guys. He's a Plush Pals. He's very soft, and he just has a rubber face. That was a design that was used for a while. I'll get back to notes on him. But there was a company in Japan that did similar rubber face ducks. And there was this one that we found on auction one time and we loved it. It was all black. And the way his hair swooped, he just looked like a rock star. He was like from 1970. And he was just great. He was from Kamar Inc. from Japan. And we won the auction and he was supposed to come and he was lost in the mail. And I have never found another of that exact duck. I found another on the line.
Lost or
I cannot find him anywhere. The seller was, obviously immediately refunded and was very apologetic and tried to look around. And no one knows what happened. And he has become my white whale. I want that little black rock star duck.
Do you have a photo? Do you have a photo of that duck?
It was a photo. If you give me a moment, I can get it, and I'll also go get. I have the other one here.
Yeah.
If you want to take over your favorite.
Gosh, as for my favorite rubber duck, in the museum itself, it is definitely this combo. These guys, I find this so cool. Being a film buff and just knowing what Disney did in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, and I love it. I love that kind of thing, and just seeing how they were able to do it. And then as for a modern duck that I love, that's my favorite. My God, we got these incredible Halloween ducks in. I love horror. I love Halloween, that kind of stuff. So, having anything like that, we got these one zombie ducks in and it was gruesome. And they're so rough. They're so cool, but they're gruesome. And they got an eye hanging out and you can see it's
my goodness.
That's my personal. Those are my personal.
That would be his favorite. That would be.
Well, probably the most famous duck is Donald and Daisy.
Donald,
yeah.
Daphne and
yeah.
They don't make a Daphne duck.
And
duck.
They do. They do. We just don't have as many yet.
This
is our other 1970s guy from that company. So this is what they did. They did these little standing up ducks where his feet and his face are like the vinyl rubber. And his hair is a little more tufted now, but the other one just had this wild rock star look.
Yeah.
These are the guys. Yeah. And then this is from the same company that gives a bit of an idea of some of their other style.
Okay.
This was Wacky, one of their main ones. And you can kind of see the more wild look that he had. But I cannot find a picture of that black one. It's gone from the internet now too.
Oh
the
no!
only picture I ever found was from the listing that we were trying to buy.
Yeah, that needs to go worldwide.
I hope I find him again.
Lost.
The black. Yep.
Lost.
That's our black duck now.
It's our white whale.
Yeah.
Well, Neil and Krystal, this has been so fun. Yes.
It's time to quit.
It is almost time to quit. We are so grateful that you've shared your time with us. And
thanks for having us.
Inspired us about rubber ducks. Wow. Who would have ever thought?
That's what we said. Who would have thought?
Who would have
And
thought?
that's what we get from a lot of people coming in too. They just go, wow, I didn't even think about this.
They're so interesting.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So classy little
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest.
Yeah.
It's been just
fun.
a riot. Yeah. Jackie, how can you close our show today?
Well, how we can close the show by, folks, check this out. Point Roberts, Washington. Take a road trip.
Yes.
Bring your passports.
Bring a passport.
Bring a passport, right. Okay. So, folks, we're glad you joined us. And don't forget to check out the book that's above on my screen, While the Windmill Watched, a Slice of Rural America in the 1950s. www.whilethewindmillwatched.com. You see that little banner down below, that purple? That's the website. So until next time, tell your friends about this chat, even your family, about the 1950s fun chat. Till next time, toodaloo.
Bye-bye.